So yeah, some DJ told me he was DJing tonight, and I was like, I don't think so, bro.
Not
he was
allowed.
like, yeah, he was like, somebody did last night. I was like, yeah, I bet y'all sneaking it, but it ain't worth getting shut down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to try to DJ at Dahlia this weekend, but PD said better to stay safe about it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, same as us. Yeah.
Yeah, get on the good side first.
What are you guys hearing? Because I understand the congregation part, and you can't do darts and all that other stuff. But there are some conversations I've been talking with some artists, and they're like, "Yeah, there's no live music at all." And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense because if I'm just playing music in the corner and not bringing people to the dance floor, like, how is that impacted? But they're saying like all spaces are off limits if it's not essential to the business. I don't know if you guys have heard anything different.
The problem is, Brandon, is that they're not making rules for people like you. Like, obviously you would be safe and like do the right thing and like, try to create an environment that's conducive to, whatever, quarantine. But you got to understand they're making rules for crazy people. Like they have to put that in there.
They use the words live entertainment. When they think of when they think of DJs, they think of dance floor too. They're like, why would you need a DJ then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so no band can even play either. I know a group of bands that were supposed to start in a club, well, not like a club, but like a bar, and they said they couldn't even play. Jazz band too.
So, wow. Yeah, I mean,
we'll see how long it lasts.
Going to be interesting as usual.
Couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it's been confusing. That's what I just don't like about it. I mean, it's all confusing, but some people say, no live entertainment at all. But then, like, what are you doing that's causing anything wrong? And then they're like, yeah, you're in a non-essential space, so you can't be there doing something. Obviously, what we do is not essential, but I don't know. It also depends on somebody coming and finding you and being like, wanting to be a dick, which I don't think would happen anyway. So.
Man, that's been weighing on me a little bit, man. Just like how non-essential we are. Like, I really think that like DJs, bars, music festivals, like in let's say we were doing like the right plan, right? I think that DJs, music festivals, all that would be like the last thing to open. Like if take myself outside of it, take the DJ part out of me, if I was actually trying to make like policy, like who would be last? And I think that's it. Because what is our job, right? To create a social atmosphere. What's like the number two thing you can do to combat this? Social distancing. So, man, that's been weighing on me, just how non-essential we are, and like, what if this second wave hits, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, got to stay positive, man. I get it though. Like, Dahlia's trying to be on the front lines of the safety. They've ordered all this stuff and like plexiglass and. So I'm like, man, like if the health department walked in there, they'd probably let me DJ.
Yeah. I saw is there a people limit?
Yeah. So the capacity's real low, and you have to have a table, but they have it set up like super nice. And last night,
looked good.
Last night, even without a DJ, was pretty successful. So we'll see how it goes.
They made money.
I was like, PD, don't get any ideas, man. You need a DJ.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, you can't discuss numbers with us, James, but they made money last night?
Yeah. They, I think they started the night with like 7 tables or something.
Love to hear that, man. That's awesome. Really encouraging. Yo, guys, is this episode 8, James?
Yeah, man. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us.
8 is great.
Episode 8, y'all. Columbus Cast, DJ Access. I'm here with James Cottle, a.k.a. DJ Corrupt.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. We got our first radio guy, and OU represent, and just a legendary DJ in himself, B-Funk. Thanks for joining.
Yep, thank you guys for
thanks for having us.
Being here with us.
Yeah. I'm trying to change my name.
How you guys holding up?
Yeah, it is mine.
IQ, not IQ.
For real, I've been relaxing, man. I haven't really picked up music at all, really, except for what I had to do on the radio, man. As far as DJing, took a break for real. I don't know. I actually remodeled my bathroom downstairs. I've been.
Mr. Handyman.
I've been trying to, grow into different things while we're quarantining, learn a new trade or something like that. But it was still working with my hands, so it helps with DJing. But as far as music, I if it don't have nothing to do with the radio station, I've been down. I don't know, man. Sucks that just have just completely stopped. And I was thinking about it. At first I was like, this is a blessing because I didn't have a weekend off, honestly, in 2-3 years, really.
Right.
I've been vacation. I haven't been on vacation in so long, but the first couple of weeks I was like, man, this is a breath of fresh air. And then they got like, all right. Then they got like, all right, what do I do with my Saturdays and Fridays and, whatever days? So just trying to hold it together by doing other things.
Dude, I tried to download music and keep up on it, but there wasn't even much coming out that was like dancey. It was all just,
And really, what's the point? Because once it, depending on how long this lasts, the music that we did download, it's gonna be like, so I was like, what part of that new stuff? How music get news.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be like somewhere we're frozen in time, where like nothing new comes out, maybe outside of like something like a Savage, or whatever that other Meg Thee Stallion song is? Or do you think you think when we come back, you think we'll be playing the box and just kind of take it from March, or do you guys think we'll be playing some new stuff?
There's some stuff that's going to come out. I mean, people are taking advantage of. It's one of those things where like people talk about print advertising being like not the way to go because no one's doing it. Well, if you're putting some money into it, people are going to see it, So there is some leverage to, put something out right now. I think it's going to be about 70-30. We're going to go back to the box and stuff like the old stuff. And there'll be a couple bangers like, Savage that we pick up here, but it's not going to be like it'd be normally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
How you holding up, Brandon?
Man, it's rough, just for all of us, everything's canceled. I'm a mobile DJ, so my wedding's all the way through June canceled, so it's like I was talking about, it's been a blessing to kind of relax. I'm a father, so I've got a almost 3-year-old, so it's been nice to be with her, and my wife's a teacher, so she's been here, so that family time's been good. But doing shows and being out and that grind that we're in, it's just all been just like, and watching it erode slowly. I still remember when the Arnold got canceled. I was like, yeah, this is kind of a real thing. Maybe I should check this out. What's going on? And I was like, we'll be back in May. It's a roll through, and now it just keeps getting longer and longer. So, but yeah, just been finding different stuff to do. A lot of video games and movies, and just streamed a little bit. It's been pretty fun. Just find different ways and pushing different projects that I didn't have time. So that's been kind of nice. But all in all, I mean, it's been rough. It's just, I want to be out there doing shows and making money, like I'm still working through the unemployment thing, trying to figure that out. And, that loss of income and deposits, people are asking for deposits now. So it's one thing to lose that revenue. It's another thing to send a check back that I've already deposited, so it's a little crazy, but, positive spirit, stuff like this is great. I love that this is happening and people are connecting in different ways.
Brandon, I want you to talk about that sending deposits back a little bit later, but you mentioned family time, and I know you had a pretty proud dad moment a couple days ago. Can I say Parker? I'm going to say Parker, your daughter, was actually Parker, your daughter had shown a little bit of interest in what you were doing, DJ, and I know you were having a rough day, and you were just not even streaming. You were just down there doing your thing, and she showed interest. Tell us about that, man, because that's like the type of stuff that I get. Like, I'm never having kids. That would be a moment that I would be curious how I reacted.
I mean, I'll take it. Before I had kids, I was like, I think I want to have kids. I wasn't like, I'm having kids, but I want to have a son because I wanted to have that dad. I'm going to show him exactly what's going on. But my daughter is, when she came out, she's perfect. And I'm always feeling like she's either going to be all about this or be like, that's whack, dad. I don't DJing and music. I want to be about that, and I'm just kind of going back and forth. But yeah, last week I was doing a show or practicing the first show that I was streaming up at the Forum, and I was doing some trance stuff, and she just comes down and she just kind of just bounces around, and so my wife was doing something, I can't remember, but brought her downstairs. I don't usually have her down here because there's a lot of equipment and kids touching stuff is not a good thing, but pulled up a chair and she just really liked the cue button and the play button on the CDJ, you know? So she was just like, oh, something's going on. And, you know, I was like, that's cute. Just recorded it. And every time the music came on, she just bounced. And, you know, it's just, I do know that, you know, parents, you know, I don't know how all your guys' experiences with your parents being with music, but, you know, you hear that music, you may not even know what it is, but when you hear it again, you kind of connect with that. And, you know, I'm just excited, hopefully, that she likes electronic music a little bit, because, you know, for me, I found electronic music later in life. You know, there's some house going on, disco, but, you know, hope she just pulls some Paul Van Dyke or something, you know. It's like, yeah, it's a classic. I like that. So.
Oh, wow.
So question, do you guys, so weddings are just not allowed, or are they canceling themselves, or like receptions, or how does that work?
Well, a few people, for me, I know they said just hold off, we're gonna get married, but we just don't know when. Gotcha. Not really a cancellation, but you know, like a pushback. I'm nervous because a few of the graduation parties I had to do, they're still like, it's a go. So I don't even know if I'm gonna do those, really. I mean, the money, you know what I mean? I'm not per se worried about the money too much. It's just, you know, I just want to be safe myself and make sure everybody else is safe. I don't want to be the reason why, you know, people are out here getting coronavirus or anything like that. But at the same point, I know things are going to end up going back to normal. So they'll probably do it anyway and get somebody else. So
yeah,
might as well do it.
That's the fine line, man. It's like we all care about the safety. We all want to work, but we're all going to make sure we're not going to get shit on if we come back to work.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I already thought in my mind, like, when I do it, I'm not going to probably post nothing to, you know, Instagram. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud that I'm out here DJing right now, but, you know, it's just something, I guess, life, you know, a part of normalcy that life will continue.
We were just talking about that last episode, just how promotion is going to be in the beginning, because it's not like you can be on your social media, like, come see me here, like, come take a shot with me. Like, you can't do that right now.
Exactly.
So it's just like, people show up like, oh, you're DJing? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
a DJ booth gonna be real. There's not gonna be too many exceptions in the DJ booth now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I already had it in my mind.
I don't care how cute you are.
I already had it in my mind for the first couple weeks. I wasn't gonna bring no turntables or no sides, just the mixer. Just the mixer. We'll see how it goes. Just the mixer.
Oh, and then just gradually get into it. He's gonna have something to say about that, IQ.
He's gonna be like, I don't care. He's gonna be like, I don't care. But nah, man, I'm just worried about, you know, just everything, really. I don't know. You know, it's weird.
Hey,
I'm in no rush.
Mike, let's do some introductions.
IQ, who are these guys?
Be fun. You know, if we got some viewers that might not know who you guys are, just tell us a little bit about yourselves, how you got started, and what you spin, where you spin. IQ, go ahead.
All right. DJ IQ, DJ on 106.7 The Beat, iHeartRadio. That's our hip hop and R&B station here. I'm on from 3 to 7. I have my own show actually too. Talking, speaking. I don't know how I got into that, but ended up getting into that, and it worked out. I DJ usually at Havana, Callahan's on Sundays. We would have been doing right now. EXO on Saturdays. The Forum sometimes, Buckeye Craze, a little bit everywhere, you know. But been DJing for about 8 years now. 8 years, rough to say, because my first year wasn't really a year. So, but DJing for about 8 years, radio for about 5 years. First started out just DJing, just doing the 5 o'clock mix, 30-minute mix, nothing special, but turned that around into my own show on Sundays, and then I got my own show during the day, and now I have the 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. slot. So trying to work my way up the ladder slowly but surely.
What does that ladder look like? So what are like the primetime spot? I mean, I'm sure Traffic, you know, or those two Traffic Jam spots, but like what else is like a high tier spot?
3 p.m. to 7 p.m. is like the high spot. Like 5 o'clock is tested to be the most people listening, you know, because of traffic hour. Most people getting off work during that time, 5 to 6. I plan on taking radio, hopefully the satellite radio somehow. Probably got to get out the city to do that, and which is a problem of mine. But that's what I want to end up doing, satellite radio. But I could probably stream from here. I did a few things with Shade 405 before, which was pretty cool. But I know how hard it is to get into it. That's the top of my ladder for me, I feel like.
How long you been doing the radio thing again?
5 years now.
Nice.
How'd you get into it?
It actually, when 106.7 The Beat came here, they came here about 5-6 years ago. They were looking for DJs. So I actually just got a call. I sent a pre-made mix in, and they said they loved it, and I got hired just like that. That's simple. And that wasn't too big. I thought it was bigger than what it was. I know, but I thought it was bigger than what it was, and it wasn't at first because at first, it was like a pre-made mix, and then it became live, which was cool, but it was only half an hour. So I'm only doing half an hour worth of DJing on the radio, which was cool, but it's only half an hour. So I started, teaching myself how to speak and talk with radio voice and all that. And they gave me a Sunday show. They was like, just take this Sunday show, see what you do with it. And I turned that Sunday show around and flipped the listeners double. So they were like, man, let's give you your own show Monday through Friday. And I started on 10 to 3, which was pretty cool because I had like the morning show. I was talking more to people at work. And it's always fun just being on the radio, people tapping in with you that you don't know. I think that's what I love about it, just talking to people I don't know. And
I really enjoy your emceeing skills as well. Do you feel like do you feel like the radio has helped your emceeing, or both has helped each other?
I feel like my emceeing has helped out my radio because I first started emceeing. Like I first started practicing my emceeing before I even started the radio. So, because I always wanted to, because I went out there and I saw who I thought sounded good, and I'm like, okay, he sounds good, he doesn't. And then I ended up, coming up the ladder, pretty quick. So I thought to myself, like, well, if anybody's going to MC, it's going to be me for myself. So I just started doing it. And then I actually loved it. I actually enjoyed it, just speaking to people, and I've been doing that all my life, kind of thinking about it. I was speaking to colleges when I was 14 years old about drug-free, and a lot of people don't know that, and it's barely a memory for me, but that was happening, and, I think that helped me progress as being an MC and a radio jockey.
I want to encourage the chat to, I know you got a bunch of people in it, this is awesome. If you guys have any questions, IQ's the first radio DJ we've had, so if you have any questions about, like, the radio DJ, path or lifestyle, throw them in the chat and we'll definitely get to them. My question is, what percentage of radio DJing is like music, and then what percentage of it is like the other stuff? Because I imagine that there's, labels maybe pay for songs to be in the playlist. Do you get to order them? I'm sure you have a program director. Just kind of talk about that process. What percentage is music? What percentage is other stuff?
Okay. Right now for me, it's 50-50. And I did not say this, but right before the pandemic, I actually became the program director. So I am the program director of the station currently. Appreciate it. It was nothing for me to be able to even, enjoy, because as soon as it happened, we all kind of dispersed. So I still don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm learning as I'm learning as I go, and it's hard to learn since I have nobody to teach me currently. But that's that. But I would say now it's 50-50. I deal with the music side as well as I deal with the business side of people wanting ads and commercials and all that, which is tough and it's new to me. It's new talking to a rep that I don't know, and he wants such and such worth of promotions, and and I got to tell him what he can get and renegotiate and stuff like that. Now, that's the business side of the radio that I never thought I would encounter, and I kind of just got tossed into it. But it is what it is. I'll take it, and do the best I can with it. So for me, like right now, AXCESS is 50-50 with music and other things regarding the radio, which is weird, but that's what it is.
I have more questions, but I want to get to B-Funk. B-Funk, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Let everybody know where you're from and where you DJ. And
Brandon, before you do that, you know you're one of my best friends, and
sure.
You know, there might be some people in the chat watching. They're like, "Hey, wait a minute, this B-Funk guy, he's from Athens. He reps OU so hard. What the hell is he doing on the Columbus DJ podcast?" And obviously, me and James think you should be on here. But I wanted to give you a minute before you introduce yourself to explain why you deserve to be on this podcast, the Columbus DJ podcast. Go.
The hard-hitting questions, Mike. Why do I deserve? I don't deserve to be here. But, you know, why am I here? I think I roll with a lot of people in different areas. As we'll probably talk about later, Athens is a little different than some of the other towns or cities in Ohio. But yeah, I mean, I just float around the state. You know, I've been to Dayton, I've been to Cleveland, I've been to Toledo once, you know, Cincinnati and stuff like that. And I like everybody. You know, ask any DJ who hates DJ B-Funk, you know, like, not going to find a lot of people. And if they do, they're whack. You know, like, I just feel like I get along with a lot of people. And, like, you know, I've always tried to be, like, positive about my stuff. But, you know, I do a lot of shows in Columbus as well. You know, I've done a bunch of Labooms, done stuff at Dahlia with James and stuff like that. So, I mean, people in Columbus have probably seen me. They've probably seen the Fro or the Beard or heard of Dave Rave and stuff like that at some point. So without actually knowing who B-Funk is, you know, and so that's, I guess, why I'm here. Or maybe it's a setup, like I text you, Mike. I don't know if this is a setup. You guys could ask me some hard-hitting questions and, you know, ruin my career. We'll see.
Before you were DJing, I heard of you from you would just throw parties in Athens. Does that sound about right? Were you a DJ during that time, or were you throwing parties before you were a DJ?
Yeah, so I've been DJing. I actually had to figure this out. I've been DJing for about 23 years. I started in high school in '97, but the funny thing is I bought my first pair of CDJs in 2003, and that's when I learned to beat match. So if you can imagine, I'm DJing for 6 years, DJing without beat matching. You know, so I'm thinking I'm doing a good job. I'm just kind of, you know, dropping on the one and everything, making it work. But really 2003 is when after undergrad, I really started DJing. And then around 2007, 2008 is when like the Dave Rave stuff picked up and people started like, you know, noticing who I was. But I mean, I was around, but you guys wouldn't have heard of me, you know, outside of like the Athens circle, because I wasn't doing any shows that were blowing up. I was just somebody who got picked up for, you know, a corporate gig or a house party. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, you guys want to know who I am. I throw parties. You know, I'm a mobile DJ. I do weddings about 50% of the time, and then I do electronic music. You know, I throw a monthly here called Trust Me Dance Party. It's kind of an open format party. I do a Trust Yourself karaoke party that kind of came out of that. It's a open format, you know, karaoke. I help put on the Halloween Athens Halloween here in Athens. I also do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You know, as I saw my career kind of plateauing, at least I thought at the time, I started working with Prime Social Group and my best friend's party and stuff, doing some behind the scenes stuff. So I've done, you know, Numbers Fest, you know, Breakaway, a bunch of different festivals and stuff like that. And that experience has been really fun. And then my side job, when I'm not DJing, I'm the director of Ohio Brew Week, which is a craft beer festival here in Athens. And so I'm in charge of putting together this 10,000 person festival every July. Well, not this July. We pushed it back to the end of the month. Hopefully it can happen. But yeah, I mean, events are my life. You know, DJing is where I started, and then the events kind of came out of that. And yeah, I just really like showing people a good time. So.
Well, dude, you're definitely good at what you do, man. And, you know, you're easy to talk to. I think that's why, you know, everybody likes you. Obviously, you've thrown some great parties. You've brought me down to Athens, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
You know, you're always welcome to come back to Dahlia too, man.
Yeah, no, it's been great, man. I think about that time I brought you down to Athens for at Bronies for club
yeah,
Dave or whatever. Yeah,
that was fun, man.
And you were I can't remember. I played some. What song was that? It was some older hip hop song, because I was opening for you and I was just doing hip hop, and then you did your thing. But it was, who are those guys? It wasn't the Laffy Taffy guys. It was somewhere in that realm. But it, like, as we're strolling through, but you're like, dude, I haven't heard that in years. Thank you for that. You're just so amped. I was like, I just play that all the time, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been fun to bring people here because, you know, James, as you know, like if you're not doing like Numbers Fest, Athens is a very different place. You know, we don't have clubs. You know, when James came down, you know, I don't even know if you knew what you're getting yourself into. We were just in a bar. You know, I had my speaker set up a mobile rig, and I mean, it was fun, but you know, it wasn't anything like Dolly or whatever. You know, and that wasn't down to Athens. So
it wasn't like I was traveling a lot at the time either. And I think just hearing you play from a different location is where I started to learn, like, man, it helps so much to get outside your box and hear what other people are doing in other spots.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's the thing. People, and I think, you know, I know we're going to talk about that. People look at Columbus, I think, differently from Athens. You know, just not knowing the landscape. I mean, you guys are up there, you're running into each other, being in the clubs and stuff like that, and seeing that. And, you know, people always come to me about shows like, hey, you know, can we get a cut of the bar when we do a show? Like, they don't do that here in Athens. You know, like you do strictly cover at the door. That's it. There's no other revenue to be made. And so that really changes, I think, a lot of like what can be done here and, you know, that's popular and whatnot. So
just speaking of like really good shows though, IQ, man, I'll never forget the one we did, the first show we did together, and we both had our own microphone. We were both DJing. Petey still talks about that every week.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a great time.
Yeah, that was a good time, man.
And I didn't know who you were. All I knew was I used to keep asking about you because I used to see you on posters everywhere. I'm like, is this guy from here?
Likewise.
Like, is this guy from here?
Dude, they put me on every poster, even if I'm not there, man. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
I was like, who is this, man? I want to be like him. This is how I need IQ to be. It's like, that's what I thought too. No lie. I need to do that.
Now, wait, was that recently? Was I at that one with D Boogie? It was like IQ.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure how long it was. That was a fun party, man.
That was packed. It was sweet.
Yeah, always fun. B-Funk, you make your own music too?
I have. So I was actually going through my SoundCloud about 6 years ago. I made some music, but my light's going out. Whoops. Yeah, I make mostly mashups now, but I've got some original house tracks that I wouldn't play out, you know, stuff like that. So I know Ableton, but normally, like, if I do a big show, I'll just put together, like, some edits and mashups and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's all on DJ B-Funk on SoundCloud, so.
IQ, have you done the production thing at all?
I have not getting into making nope. Just keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but every time I sit down and think about it, I draw a blank. Sad.
Dude, it's a commitment. It's like its own school.
Definitely. I mean, I fell out of it. You know, Mike and I were, you know, I think started probably around the same time, maybe a year or two, but, you know, I just fell right off the wagon with that. But you know, if you can learn to warp in Ableton, dude, you can make your own mashups. That's a whole thing that'll just get something out there. You know, that's something that I still can do, and I like about that. You know, I can't make an original production that, you know, it's going to get turn heads, but you know, I could take these two songs and maybe change some of the elements, you know, and make it your own, which it feels good when you play that out in the club. You know, I've got mashups from like 7 years ago that like still, I'm like, yes, you know, people still like this, you know, and that's my thing, you know. So I definitely, you know, while we're doing it right now, if you got time, it's check out, you know, Warpin and Ableton, and it's an investment, you know, but it's definitely something that's helped me.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Laid Back Luke. That was like his advice to DJs who are trying to get into like what's the bridge to get to production? Well, you got to make edits, then you got to make remixes, and then you got to make originals.
Yep, I remember talking about that on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So you guys are such good DJs, super talented. I want you to kind of talk about that more. Like, what can people expect when they come see you? What do you guys bring to the table? What do people say about your performances? Like, I could talk about you guys forever. I want you guys to talk about yourselves for a little bit. IQ, we'll go to you.
Well, I mean, when you just said that, I'm just going to say what I thought. When I come to show out pretty much. And when I first started DJing, I DJ'd. I didn't know what a DJ was. You know what I mean? I had no DJ friends. I don't even know how I started. My friend started throwing parties, and I was the DJ, and then he stopped but I had bought a bunch of equipment. So I was like, well, I gotta figure this out. So, you know, and I literally, you know, 8 years ago went on YouTube, and first thing I saw was like, you know, DJs battling each other. I'm like, wow, this is like competitive. But that's what I liked, you know what I mean? That's what I liked. I like competitiveness in anything, you know, golf, basketball, any sports. And so I was like, yo, I want to learn how to do tricks and, you know what I mean, and wow the crowd and wow somebody, like, wow, did you see what he did? So I think that's what I'm all about. I love DJing in the clubs, even though sometimes I can't do what I want to do, but yet I still do it anyway. And I mean, it's fun because it actually works out. It's never been like a problem. You know, when I scratch, I do too much. It's never been like, yo, IQ, stop. It's been like, yo, dog, what is that? He's dope. And I like that. You know, I like that feeling. I think I like that feeling. And I think you can expect me to, you know, just, I'm gonna play what I want to. Usually, you know what I mean, I'm gonna play what I feel. I usually play from the feel, like, you know. And I started doing that about 2 years ago. And I think playing, you know, from your emotion, how you feel like the crowd will want next, or, you know, just spot on. It's just knowing your crates too, knowing your library, knowing your music and what you do have. And I tell all the young DJs that all the time, you know what I mean? They're like, how do you, when you DJ, you just typing in the song next, you know what I mean? You're not even in the crate. I'm like, well, you know, you just gotta know what music you have first, you know what I mean? You gotta practice, and that comes with practicing. And that's about it.
I feel like you're at the point, though, where you get booked to be yourself now, because I feel like, you know, people do know what they're getting from you, and that's what people want. I mean, I know that when like a nightclub when we booked you, we're like, we want what he does. Like, this is going to be perfect.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah.
IQ, I've actually have two more questions for you. So, like, do you feel, because I mean, I know you do a lot of hip hop shows. You're on a hip hop radio show. Do you feel pigeonholed at all? Like, do you feel like people contact you to do other stuff? I know you do weddings. I know you do other stuff. Like, is like, what percentage of what you do is hip hop, and do you feel pigeonholed in that role?
I don't. I do, but I don't at the same point. I mean, I brought it upon myself because 5 years ago, when I became a full-time DJ and quit my job, I was actually at Charlie Bear. I don't know if y'all remember Charlie Bear. I was like Charlie, and I was like one of their full-time DJs with B-Rob and Gonzo. And
shout out,
you know, they were paying good. I was DJing about 5 nights a week. Yeah, shout out B-Rob. I was DJing there like 5 nights a week, and you know, I quit my job. I quit my job that I went to college to get, I guess. And about a month later, they shut down. But at that point, I was doing top 40. You know what I mean? I was doing a lot more pop than even hip hop. You know, it was a little bit of both, but it's probably about 60-40 pop, and I liked it. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. And then when that closed down, it kind of pushed me to back to the hip hop side because I really had nowhere else to go. And then I got on the hip hop radio station, and that everybody who booked me from there was hip hop. I started just doing hip hop. So I actually just, you know, it was all hip hop. Then about a year ago, I got on the Dave and Jimmy morning show, and that was all pop. So I'm in the morning show, guys, like coming from straight hip hop for 3 years, not even listening to pop at all. And I'm like, what are these songs? What is this? You know, I had to revamp my whole self again. And then I actually enjoyed it though, because I was like, yo, what? I've been missing out again. Pop music is like, you know, soulful. Is it, you know, they're talking about good things and, you know, positivity, and, you know, the music is this and that. And then the remixes, of course, you know, Gonzo used to send me all kinds of remixes in my Dropbox. And I'm like, yo, I'm getting back into it, and it's crazy, but I'm still doing mostly hip hop stuff. So it didn't make any sense. And I never really got to do the top 40 like I wanted to, but I would love to. I would love to go 50-50 with it.
B-Funk, back to you. What can people expect when they come see you, bud?
I mean, you guys, I saw the questions you guys sent. I was trying to think about that, and I think it's really just sincerity. You know, IQ kind of nailed it. You know, he's playing stuff that he loves and gets people hyped. I think there's a balance in that. You know, like you can play stuff that you love and it might be whack or whatever, but you know, I think when you get to a point, you've got that style. And you know, I think when people see my sets, they're not going to walk away and be like, "Yeah, that's like a cookie cutter set or something." They're gonna get something of me in it. You know, even if it's the same style or whatever. And that's what I kind of strive for. You know, whatever genre it is. If we're doing open format, we're doing hip hop, we're doing, you know, house or, you know, trance or whatever, it's going to be like, hey, oh, there's that moment. Like I get, you know, like that's him, you know, at least that's what I strive for. You know, I haven't polled my entire audience, but you know, I feel like feedback I've been getting, they're like, oh, okay, that's a B-funk trance. So a lot of people go to that. They're like, oh yeah, I want one of those classic B-funk basement trance sets or whatever. And that's what I kind of strive for in my mixes. So.
And then the culmination of that was the Trust Me Dance Party, which you love. I love.
Yes.
And talk about that. Because you really, I mean, that's B-funk in its purest form, right?
Yeah. So, you know, growing up in Athens, like I remember in high school not hearing any hip hop on the radio. You know, I remember hearing in like 2001, I remember being in our fitness center at OU and heard Destiny's Child's, you know, Bills on the radio. And I told my friend Luke, I'm like, do you hear that? Like, this R&B, man, what's going on here? You're like, you know, and you think about that. You guys have been Columbus, like, dude, what? In 2001, like, way ahead. So, you know, my upbringing on the music, I've kind of got attached to a lot of different stuff. And so, you know, I'm just excited to listen to like The Cure or like New Order as I am like Migos or like Paul Van Dyke or Swedish House Mafia. You know, and so I created this party because I got tired of doing like a certain type of party. You know, we do a lot of open format, and I'm sure you guys know this, like, you know, open format has really turned into like very formulaic, you know, mixes. It's like in, out, bridge out, you know, it's not really open format. You can't really do what you want to do. Like you're there to make sure the crowd is having a good time and you're not really introducing a lot. And this isn't like everything, but this is a lot of generic open format. And I didn't like that. You know, I wanted to be able to play like older stuff, older funk, you know, some older Rick James, not just the classics of every genre. And so I basically came up with this idea. I was like, you know, I'm going to call this party Trust Me, which I got a lot of pushback on the name because people were like, you know, trust and consent and stuff. And I was like, listen, this is the concept. You know, you can go to trustmeparty.com. It's all written there. The idea is like, I've been DJing forever. I've done some of the biggest parties ever. You know, I don't come, it's not bad. Just trust me. You don't know what the music's going to be. It's not a genre. It's not a style. It's not an era. Just trust me. I might just do all like dance hall for a while. I might jump into James Brown. I might just do electro. So it's kind of whatever I'm feeling at the time. You just have to trust that the DJ is going to take you to a good place and make you dance. And it's been successful. I just had my 3-year anniversary was in May. We actually had to stream it, but you know, 3 years and it's been growing, you know, and I love it. I mean, it's the one time out of the month where I'm just like, I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do. I don't take requests, you know, like people come up like, hey, can I hear this? The only time I take requests is when I was already going to play it or it's a good idea. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm going to play that, but I'm going to tell you it's for you, but it's really for me, you know? And so, but I just love it because it just lets me just kind of flow and, you know, and I don't get that anywhere else. And, you know, anytime I think I would do that, there would be people in the crowd who would respond negatively to that. But since it's a concept, people are like, okay, yeah, you know, we just got to trust him. He's going to do some reggae right now, and then he's going to drop into Skrillex. Like, I guess, you know, at some point it's going to change too, you know, and that's kind of been the party. I post a lot of the Spotify playlists of all the songs I play, and it's all over the place. You know, it's like, you know, there's always a point where I hit like 124 to 128 house. Like, it's just like, we're there, you know, I might be playing some like Pitbull or something, but we just drop into that and we'll just do Dead Mouse and everything. And then when I've lost about 20% of the crowd, we switch it into like some other stuff that I think they might recognize. But it's one of my favorite things to do, and I really hope it just keeps going. So,
how did that stream go? By the way, it looked like it was pretty successful.
Dude, it was great. I mean, I was averaging about 50 to 55 people, and we DJ'd for 7 hours. You know, the thing was only supposed to be 3. It was only supposed to be 3 hours. It was the second time I had DJ'd, so I had done a stream the week before with some other OU guys just to kind of figure it out. But you know, it being, I think, the anniversary, and it being like a you know, open format DJ funk set, not electronic, I think it opened it up to a lot more people. But it was great, you know. And we went all over the place. I mean, unfortunately, I hadn't figured out how I didn't switch the record thing on Twitch, so there's no recording of it. But I've got the the playlist on Serato and everything like that. But
don't tell Mike that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Look at him.
Yep, I'm learning, man. I watched your stream today, Mike. I asked questions, so I'm learning stuff. But I didn't record it because I thought it would be on the Twitch. But yeah, it was like I was astounded. Like people were sending tips and stuff too through Venmo, and it was. I actually ended up making more money at that show than I would at my normal gig, which was crazy.
Oh, nice.
Say it louder. Say I wasn't sure if you want to mention it. Say it a little bit louder.
Yeah, I mean it's there's this discussion about like should I ask for tips and everything like that. And I had a friend, my buddy A-Rock here in town, and he had been doing. He's like, yeah, I made some money last week, and I was like, okay, well, he made that like maybe I'll make like $25. That's $25. I'll just put it out there and. I ended up making like more than I would make at my gig. It was crazy. People were just $10, $25, $50, and they were feeling it. And most of them were my friends, but they were just happy to see me. I mean, the comment I got most from people was, it was just really good to see you in your element. You could really tell you're feeling yourself, and how we are. How we are. You're just feeling it. And you're just bouncing around and bopping and everything. And when I'm at my house having some drinks, that's the other thing too. This is a little different because I was at home, so I was, really sliding into it. When I'm in the club, I might have one drink or something, but there we did a power hour before, and then we switched into the show. So, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was. There's money to be made. People want to support this, and it was very surprising. Like I said, I thought I'd make like $20, and it was like more than what I would make at the gig. Taking my gear there. Only playing, all that stuff. It was great. So
that's really interesting because we talked about this on one of our earlier episodes when it was kind of earlier into quarantine, and I feel like the thought process was different because we had just gotten into quarantine and everybody had lost their jobs. Mm-hmm. So who are we to ask for money at that time? But now, like, here we are still. Not working.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think but there's most people lost their jobs, but there are plenty of people who are working, from home and making it work and have money. And a lot of people said that, like, hey, we know you're not working. I don't really put on blast that I'm don't have any gigs, but most people know that. The people really close know what's going on. But I haven't made that Facebook post of, hey, I've lost 12 gigs, since April, and we know weddings. I mean, that's, for me, 80% of my income is April to September, so like it's chomp, chomp, chomp. But, people just really, friends and friends of friends to support quality stuff, like I have friends that didn't send money, but people just really, the ones who did and saw, they appreciate, support that stuff or whatever. And so yeah, I mean, because I heard a lot of different stuff, like, who are we to be asking for this? No one's got money. Well, dude, there are some people making money during this thing, like people are getting rich after this, shipping stuff and everything. So it's not everybody, most of the people that we know in our bubble are hit hard, but there's still people out there who have money, and, they're not sending me $200 tips, like it's nothing like that, but, $10 a bunch of times starts to add up, and stuff like that. And so, people to support that. Now, I will say on that, I've streamed several times since then. That number's also gone down. So I think it's also a magical, like, hey, when we all start DJing for the first time, all of our friends show up, and then you do it. Hey, come to this next show. And then it gets a little bit smaller. And then, hey, come to the next show. And then eventually, like, it's nothing. So, but yeah, I'll take that one big thing, But so that, I don't want to make it sound like, hey, man, this is, buy a new computer and a webcam and invest $1,000 in this and you'll make this much money. It's not quite like that. But there is something in that. Like I had a lot of family members just watching who never come to my shows, which I thought was dope. They're like, we watched you till 2 a.m. doing your thing. I'm like, you're up till 2 a.m. watching me? Like, okay. So,
dude, I was watching this gamer on Twitch last night at like 1 a.m, and they're just getting sent $100 like left and right. I'm like,
right?
Yeah,
those
it's interesting.
Gamers are massive though. Like, there's some skewing to that for sure. James, I'm enjoying this a lot, bro. Where do you want to go next?
Let's talk about what you guys, what kind of your goals are, you know, when things do not go back to normal, but when we're back to work. I know IQ, you talked about, you know, trying to pursue possibly satellite radio. What else you got going on, man?
Right now, I'm really just looking to get people back on my show because what I had did with my show before the quarantine, I had got the city real involved. I was doing a taste test Tuesdays where I would sponsor a local restaurant every Tuesday, bring them up there, try out their food, you know, just give them free promotion. Wednesday, I was putting Columbus artists on the radio, you know, letting people decide whether it was hot or not. Thursday, I would do interviews, and Fridays, I just had started up my Fashion Fridays, trying to interact Columbus because I know Columbus is big in fashion, just trying to, you know, bring light of that. And now all that's, you know, been shut down. So I'm hopefully just, you know, looking to get people back and getting my schedule back full as far as the radio station too, so I can get the people something to actually listen to besides, you know, just me talking about nothing and coronavirus topics and such and such. You know, I'm sick of that. But, you know, I've been like, I mean, I miss the clubs, you know what I mean? But like I said, I can wait. You know what I mean? It's the I think the money's the top of the issue, which is bad. You know what I mean? Bad. That doesn't mean I hate the club anymore. I'm just there for the money. But, you know what I mean? The money, I think, is the biggest miss of the clubs for me, which, you know, money's not everything. So, but I do miss seeing, you know, a lot of people, and hopefully I can get all that back started with the radio station, which will help me develop more, you know. And I thought getting all that, you know, Columbus involvement will help me develop more to be able to, you know, do satellite radio. And it will, but, you know, it's all been shut down. So I got to get that development back, you know, interviewing people and talking with people I don't know and, you know, all that.
So basically relaunching these projects that you had going. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's awesome.
So through the radio, IQ, you've probably had like a few celebrity interactions just through your interviews that you're talking about. Do you have like some favorite stories and maybe like one least favorite story?
My favorite story probably would be John Witherspoon came in, rest in peace. Pops from Friday came in 2 years ago. Yeah. Good time, man. He was funny. He was still energetic. Didn't seem too sick. Didn't seem like he aged a day since I saw him in Friday the first time. And you know, that was real cool. I know I interviewed Lil Boosie, and last year I went to the BET Awards too, which I think already got canceled. So there goes my free trip to LA. So I had to figure that out. But I got to interview a bunch of artists at the BET Awards. Trey Songz, T.I., Black Youngster. There's a lot of artists, Ty Dolla $ign, a lot of artists I saw down there, which was pretty cool. And I won't be able to do that this year. So hopefully we'll figure out another way to get an interview with some of those artists.
Anyone who was like a letdown, or maybe like you had him in a high rank, you met him, and maybe it wasn't what you thought it was going to be? Not
really. Lil Boosie tried. Lil Boosie tried to be the cool guy. He came in there and with all his partners, you know, none of them cracked the spout. But little does he know, I went to college in Louisiana. I went to Grambling, and I was in the band. And I remember he came and performed on the field while we played his song. And of course, he didn't remember me from then, but I brought that up, and he just smiled. He was like, "Man, I loved that time when I did that." And, you know, then he just opened up like a little kid. I seen him teasing like he would never have, and you know, that was pretty cool to be able to open somebody up in an interview.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Beats Funk, you, man. You know that I'm a big Star Wars fan. You're a bigger Star Wars fan than I am. I can confidently say that. I want the viewers to know, what's your favorite moment from each of the Star Wars trilogy? And I know you can go on forever, so I want to keep them maybe like 1 minute each. But like, what's your favorite moment from each of the Star Wars trilogies, and then maybe what's like your least favorite moment from the entire saga?
The whole saga. Prequels, that's easy. Seismic charges, Attack of the Clones, when Jango Fett drops that bomb and it explodes, goes silent. It's the greatest sound effect. Google it. Original trilogy. when Luke's fighting Darth Vader, and he's, you know, Darth Vader's talking about turning Leia to the dark side. He's like, sister, and he's like, no, and the music swells, and they're fucking, you know, that shit's dope. And this latest one, Rise of Skywalker, when freaking Lando shows up with the fleet, that shit right here, man. I feel like when that happens, I feel like I'm on that ship with them beating the fucking First Order. So, yeah. Least favorite.
I just want to let all our viewers know that I got all of them right on my sheet. No, I'm just kidding. But I did know two of those. I did know two of those.
Yeah. Least favorite, probably some crap in Canto Bight from Last Jedi. I just really think it's crap. That, or just like there's no backstory to Snoke. It's just a waste. So yeah, big Star Wars fan all the way. It's been. And I think a lot of the reason I like Star Wars is because of the music and the sound. I went to school for sound because of those movies, and it's just always been anybody who's been to my set, I usually drop some sort of Star Wars reference or music or remix, because it's just, you know, it's just part of me. So,
James, next question is yours, bud.
Go. What's I'm trying to think. First vacation you guys are going to take when you're allowed. Where you guys headed?
Man, where are we headed? Jamaica.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Jamaica. Get out.
Have you been before, IQ?
I don't even know what happened this trip. I need to get away. I've been it was a cruise though, so I was on and off. It was like a 3 hour. I think we were there for like 3 hours. But it was nice. It was beautiful, man. I mean, it was nice and not nice at the same time, which was kind of cool and creepy. You know, you'll walk by a rut little corner store, and then you'll walk by a gated mansion 30 seconds later. But it was pretty cool, man. And I need that space. I need that energy.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Brandon?
Dude, I'm trying to go to Detroit. I'm trying to go to Movement. I miss that. You know, that's my thing. It's I don't take a lot of trips. You know, usually in the summer I'm working with my wife. She doesn't get any time off during the school year. So I really think Detroit. I don't think it's going to happen this fall. So I feel like it'll be next May. I feel like I'll be at that. I feel like that'll be my next trip, and you know that's like my just home. I've only gone 2 years in a row, but I love it. So that's for me. Family thing, probably. I don't know when we're gonna do anything. It's just so hard to get the family away, and my daughter's almost 3, and so it's challenging. You can't go to Disney World and Universal because you don't want to pay all that money and everything. So. But yeah, I think Detroit is going to be on my list, and that'll probably be May next year. I feel like so.
Can't knock you for Movement, man. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's just a great vibe.
I will say, sorry, not to be like the downer, but their stream was not good today, man. Like, I was on the stream at 2. The first DJ, man, his setup looked garbage, and then the second DJ. It was just like him in his house. There was no production, and that's fine. If that's dude's production, if that's his stream, and he's just doing it, whatever. Like I don't need it to be all crazy. But
you feel like they should have had like standards before, like that, like contracts of standards.
Yeah, man. Like book DJs that actually know the platform, who know who to do. Like I think EDC did an okay job, but really like Porter Robinson, Maddion. I think those are the best streams that I've seen. 4Color Zach, Buck Rogers on the open format side. A-Track had some good educational streams. But I was just really disappointed with the production value. Like even the audio sounded like it wasn't even going through like an audience. It was just maybe like speakers Pronet thing. And I'm a stickler for that type of stuff. But whatever. I would hope Movement would do better than that. But the music was still solid, right? You put your phone down and maybe you're playing video games, you're cleaning the house, you're cooking, you're doing something else. Great music. But I thought they could have done some more on the production side of it.
I agree. I watched this set right before you started streaming, and yeah, it was it looked rough. But even when I saw the lineup, I figured, they've got to be hurting on the revenue side. So even to set that up, if you think everyone's getting paid something, it's got to be painful to do. And so, but I agree. I mean, there really should have been some sort of standard, even if it's like, hey, everyone's going to be facing this way and use this color, use our graphics and stuff like that. Because there was some setup, and it just looked like, if I didn't know it was moving, I'd be like, what is this? And so
switched right off it, right?
Yeah, and I think like a lot of that music, it's to be enjoyed in the club with a group of people. And so when you pull that out and you don't have any type of visuals, or not even visuals, but just a clean representation, it takes a lot. Like, you have to really know that DJ to really tune in, and that's not what Movement should be. Like, I go to Movement to discover artists. I'm like, okay, who is this? I didn't know who Anna was, the year before. Now I'm like all about her. I just had the set, and I feel like that somebody dropped the ball at the very top. They're like, oh, we're Movement, it'll be the same thing. That's not. Like, I was watching, I didn't want to continue, and that's not the feeling I should get. Like, when I watched the EDC thing, I was like, okay, Secret Sky, same thing. I was like, I want to continue on this journey. Movement, I don't know who's in charge of it, but I definitely agree with that.
IQ, being on the radio, it's live just like this is. Has there ever been like an embarrassing moment? I know you probably get this question all the time, but like, I feel like as a podcaster, I'd be like remiss if I missed asking you this question. Any good embarrassing moments on the air?
All the time, man. It's funny. It's funny because I don't know how to explain it. I don't even know if it's a term or a literal term, but I don't pronounce words too good. And my friends know it. They've known it forever since high school. They'll laugh at me and say that again. You know what I mean? Say like let's say repercussion. I don't even know. You know what I mean? I'll say repercussion, and he'll say like, say that again. So I mess up on a lot of words, but I just keep going. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. And people comment all the time. They're like, you said that word wrong. I'm like, it is what it is. I say a lot of words wrong. And now it's funny. It's funny to me, especially when I stutter or messed up a word. I just keep going like, well, y'all already know. And I tell my listeners all the time, y'all already know I can't pronounce that right. So we'll just keep going, But
it's almost part of your character now.
It's part of my character, but it sucks when I'm doing. It sucks. A funny story. Just last week, so I got a new promotion with the Cleveland School of Cannabis, and it's not necessarily like weed, like marijuana. It's more like hemp. So I had to do a ad for them, and I'm saying hemp, in the commercial, and they're like, they send it back like, it sounds like you're saying hip. And I'm like, hip or hemp? And then, so I asked the guy across, the guy from the country station across, and he was like, see, I grew up on a farm, and see, I can say hen, so it's like hen, so say it like hemp. And I was like, hemp. He was like, hemp. I was like, hemp. and we're going back and forth like hemp. He just busts out laughing. And then so then story short, I cut the commercial, send it to him, and tell him like, this is it. This is me saying hemp. Y'all like it or not?
Right.
So,
can't win them all, man.
Hemp.
Right? Hemp.
We got any questions from our viewers? Any questions for our guests? Give us a comment. Love, yeah.
Connor apparently giving out half his phone number. Shout out, Connor.
I think that's an area code.
I think he's trying to do 740, but maybe that's how I read it.
Yeah, 740, 710. Oh shit!
I just want to give some shout outs, man. There's some legends in here. We got Ginsu, we got Bryson, we had John Smith earlier, who's DJ before. Like, dude, this is awesome. I was
gonna say, I saw Tony DeSaro was on here. I don't know if he's still watching, but I saw his name pop up.
Oh, hey, there he is. Yep.
That's my dude, man.
What's up, Tony, man? How you doing, buddy?
He might have to be the second non-Columbus DJ to be on here.
I know. I was thinking about that.
I will put my name on that one as well, dude, for sure.
There's so much you can talk about with Tony.
You know what? Let's talk about, speaking of like DJs who are not in Columbus, B-Funk, I wanted to ask you, what's your take on the Columbus DJ scene? Like, what are its strengths and weaknesses? How does it differ from the Athens scene? You talked about a little bit, and then I know you wanted me to ask you something like that could get you in trouble. So what changes would you like to see in the Columbus scene that maybe we don't see as people who are in it?
So there's 3 questions. So you has the difference between Athens and Columbus, what's it look like, and then what changes, right? I mean, you know, the view from Athens, you guys are crushing it. You know, like I always listen to the complaints that are going on, you know, in Columbus. This going on. I'm like, dude, I wish we had any of those problems. You know, shows on the same night and crap like that, or too much of this genre. You know, in Athens, we don't have any hip hop shows. You know, we have one hip hop show a year. You know, let's take Numbers Fest. You know, that's over now, but you know, take that out of the picture because that's a whole different machine. You know, that happens in the spring. But like, you know, they have one hip hop show a year that's put on at the Combo. Not excuse me, at Memorial Auditorium. And EDM shows, if I'm not throwing them, they're probably not happening. And if I'm throwing them, they're still not like major artists. You know, I think the biggest people I had here during the height of my career was, you know, probably Rovi and Crisley. You know, those are the 2 largest people we had coming through. And that was, you know, maybe 8 years ago or something like that. So, you know, Columbus is crushing as far as, you know, that differences. I mean, I think, you know, you guys have so many more venues, and I think you have so many more people feeding into what you guys do. And I would hate for any DJ or promoter to take that for granted. You know, so here we have to, like, you know, we've got 20,000 students and then about 6,000 residents. You know, we don't have a large young professional, you know, population filling in those parties. You know, so it's either students or like very older people. There's not that middle ground like that Columbus has, where like, you know, you've got people who didn't go to college that just work, you know, just want to party and want to go out and stuff like that, you know, and just feeding in. And then Lancaster, things I'd like to see, I'd like to see whatever, like the, you know, not the hierarchy, but just how the feeders go into the different areas be better. You know, like I know, like, you know, you guys are talking about how, like, you know, you see certain things going on. Like, we all see things, you know, if you're following social media and whatnot. Like, that's how a lot of my stuff is, or going to the shows to figure out what's going on. But I feel like a lot of people get Athens wrong and some of the other areas just wrong as far as, like, who the talent is and what they're doing. You know, because a lot of the DJs that get pulled up from Athens and / OU are people from Columbus. And I'm not, like, hating on them, but I'll say a lot of them aren't the best ones we're putting out, you know, and I don't know if it's just, you know, we're not knocking on your door enough, or, you know, I just think that connection could be, like, it took me a long time to play in Columbus. I think it was like 6 or 7 years that, you know, I hadn't played, and it wasn't anybody's fault, but I remember I made a post. I was scrolling through when I did that Matt and Zoe show. I was like, dude, Laboon's been going on for 7 years, you know, and I never got booked, you know, and there were people that I had done a DJ showcase, which is a thing I do here in town, where, you know, I basically have 8 to 12 DJs, like, just play a set on a big sound system, kind of get them connected. So I had people who had played the DJ showcase, their first show, and then like a year later, they're playing Laboon or, you know, all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? You know, like, I fucking put them on, you know, like, you know, but it wasn't anything like, I'm not gonna be like, you know, fuck you, James, fuck you, Nick, fuck you, Aaron. Like, it was just like, that's the nature of it. And I just kind of took it in stride. I wasn't going to fucking beg. And then, but eventually, you know, people found out and they're like, hey, this guy's all right. You know, we'll put him on. Like, you know, I usually average, you know, 3 shows in Columbus a year, you know, like a big show or whatever. And, you know, and it took a long time to get there. But, you know, now, you know, I'll do a direct support set, which I'm 100% about. You know, like, I love when you guys bring me on. You're like, hey, we have this artist. We want you to do your thing. We trust you. You're not going to blow it out and do something wrong. But that's just something I think, and that's, you know, Athens, but I think there's some other areas that with things going on that don't have the kind of market you guys have, you might be able to unearth more talent. And also, like, it's always good for you guys to have, you know, some sort of reach. You know, we have that familiar, like, touch. And so if we need something going on, like, you know, James, when you come to Athens, you know, we'll be talking at like or Numbers Fest or whatever. And we're like, hey, you know, we'll just talk shop or whatever. But having like a hub, you know, that's not really a takeover. Like, you don't want to be taking over an area. Like, right. A lot of stuff, like Prime Social Group would do like takeovers.
Yeah.
And you would have this one kid who would like take over a bar and the show wouldn't do well because they haven't done their due diligence. You know, if you had just talked to me, you know, been like, hey, yeah, that's a good spot. You know, I already know some people. It'll be, we'll support it more than we're just going to go. It'd be like, you know, if I came to Dahlia and just rented it, you know, and I'm like, I'm going to have a B-Funk show. Like, James, you can be like, what the fuck? You know, like, who's this? Why is he here? Otherwise, if I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, do this. I think those avenues should be opened up. And I think with social media, it is better. But, like, it shouldn't be begging you guys to do stuff. It should be more of a, you know, let's talk about this and be friends in a way. And I feel like those networks could be, you know, broadened. So
that's why it pays off to be a experienced DJ, man, especially now. You know, a lot of places just don't want to take chances on unproven, I should say, unproven artists. And that's why you got to put in your time. And, you know, I remember we talked a little bit about Laboom with Nick Reed on our last episode, but, you know, it's always been a big, giant party, like very hard to get on, or maybe like less artists were on the lineup back then. I can't say for sure, but I think I remember seeing like, you know, like 3 DJs on the, like 3 big DJs and then like 1 opener, you know, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it was, because I think at some point they started going earlier because it became so popular. But yeah, it used to be 9 or 10, and then you had 3, you know, and so getting a slot was, you know, not that it's less now, but getting a slot was super hard to do, you know, and I totally agree. And I think that's, you know, with an unlimited amount of DJs now, we know how easy it is to do what we're doing. And, you know, with social media being so important now, you know, we have so many people, you know, IQ, I'm sure he has people like, hey, put me on, bro, put me on. You know, it's like, you just go to social media and like, okay, they got the following, but have they played a show? You know, and so having that word of mouth is so important. And I feel like having those, you know, people in those areas, you know, you can talk to Tony and Dayton and be like, hey, what's going on here? You know, like there's people in different areas. And I feel like those communication avenues could be strengthened. Because, you know, the other thing too is a lot of like the people who are in charge, we're getting older, you know, and so we got these new kids coming in and, you know, we've got our style, but, you know, there might be somebody who, you know, needs to be vouched for that we haven't met or seen or whatever, or had the chance to meet. You know, I don't even want to think about, you know, you guys, how many people are talking to me about put me on, put me on, put me on, you know, like, and how do you even sort those out? You know, like they all come to your shows. Like, how do you sort that out? You know, so
well, that's the thing that we were just talking about a couple episodes is like, not all of them are coming to the shows. The guys that are asking to get put on aren't putting in their time and supporting the shows that they want to play, and they just expect those handouts. It's kind of like, you know, actually, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to. But yeah, I made my point. Yeah.
Hey, James, have you ever played a Laboom?
Yeah, I've played a couple. One was a long time ago when, like he's talking about, it was really hard to get on, and then, but I never expected a certain time slot or anything like that. It was always conflicting with what I was doing at my other venues. So it's not like they weren't putting me on, or it was just like, man, I was watching them kill it, and I'm over here, I'm busy. Like, but I love what they got going on with Laboom.
100%. I was wondering because I've never played a Laboom, so hopefully that makes you feel better. Be fun. James, do you know what time it is?
Oh, it's show and tell time, boys.
Dun, 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 dun. We need like a video thing to like play when that shit happens.
Goes like right across, like
yeah. Show and tell.
So basically, guys, this is it can be related to DJing or not, but we just want you to show something that you got in your house, maybe, or something in your background. Show us a little appropriate, Facebook friendly.
Your mom's watching.
It's my grandma. My grandma. What's up, grandma?
What's up, Grandma Corrupt?
Poppy.
Oh,
my dog.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
What's his name?
Love dogs here.
Poppy, Ryder.
Hey, Ryder.
Poppy. And this is the bathroom that I just redid.
Okay.
I still got to do this wall, as you can tell.
No, leave it, bro.
Tied on to something. All right. Yep. I put the towel in.
Nice.
Doors. Got the new thing in, and I put the shower in too.
That looks clean.
So the shower, yeah.
Yeah, I'm impressed by anyone who can do anything handy. Like that is not me. I like that.
You're calling somebody, huh?
I'm calling everybody. How much does it cost? No problem. Get here. Like that's not me. How's your IQ? How's your golf game? I thought you were gonna show your clubs, dog.
Oh yeah, I'm awesome. I actually I don't know if y'all know what this is right here. You probably don't, but
I'm a golfer.
Every day at home, SkyTrack Golf Simulator. So I set it outside and I hit balls, and I got my backup computer turned into a PC. And
that is cool.
Hit balls. I wish I had it up right now. I mean, it's pretty exact too. Yeah, it's pretty exact.
You're breaking up a little bit.
What else have I been doing? That's about it, man. That's about it.
Looks like a rice cooker to me.
We're losing you a little bit, IQ. Now, B-Funk, I know you got tons of shit in your house, dog. What you got for showing?
I mean, I was trying to think, what's a super, important thing to me, but this just sits next to me every day. I got this for my wedding.
What we got here?
If you guys have seen
it.
Alien, yeah. So, yeah, I got this. I put this on. My wife, fiance at the time, let me put this on our, registry. But the best part is, this pops off right here. It's full of candy. So I just have that sitting next to me all the time. It used to sit upstairs next to or on top of our refrigerator. My wife's like, that is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Get that out of here. So I brought it down here. But
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm a big fan of the Alien movies when I was a kid.
Which one's your favorite?
Aliens, the second one. It just
nice.
I remember being a kid and wanting to be a space marine and just fuck some aliens up, and that's my thing. And all the space marine guns and everything. That's why I like Call of Duty and all that stuff. It's just it has that vibe to it. But yeah, I saw that, and I like when I can buy something that is functional but also has like geek stuff. I have too many nerdy shirts and posters and stuff. That doesn't do enough. And so, there you go. There's a little Pac-Man thing,
Oh, dude, that's authentic right there.
That's dope, man.
If we can get him on here. We lost IQ's video. Oh, snap.
I got bored.
That's nice, dude.
All right, when quarantine's over, we're going to IQ's house. Later, gaming.
Hey, IQ, what do you golf? Like, what's your average score? Like,
my handicap right now is at a plus 12, and it's going down. So I'm getting good. They just started this thing called an Amateur Pro Golf Association, where amateurs that are like plus 20 or plus 5 to plus 20. It's like a fight to get on the real PGA. So I really want to get on that hopefully one day. So maybe.
Hey man, I believe in you.
I'm getting good though.
Gotta believe.
Now's the time.
Thank you. I've been golfing since high school. I've been for like 20 years now. So, but I'm just now getting good. I really should get lessons, but I'm so arrogant that I probably wouldn't listen.
I'm going tomorrow.
Really?
To Turnberry with a couple guys.
Why you ain't tell me? I'm going to I'm going to Bentry with a couple guys, but Turnberry, we play Turnberry like twice a week.
Oh,
so
nice.
Right around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Pickerington. I used to go there all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
Well, hopefully it doesn't storm. We'll see.
Yeah. I know, right?
Everything I learned about golf, how like they have like the cart girl, and she she cute and she got us all the tips. But when she didn't show up, I was the cart girl, and that was like my first job. And dude, it was like this like white ass country club, and every time, dude, I would pull up.
I bet you got good tips though.
No. The girls got good tips.
Oh yeah, the girls did.
But they would give me like these these like petty tips, like, oh, you're not cute, but here you go. I'm supposed to tip you. I'll like give you like $1. I'd be like, this is the most dumb shit. And then I'd have to listen to the girl come back and be like, this guy gave me $200. I don't know why. Because your shit's.
Hey man, that's your fault. With the wrong job in.
I would have worn a low cut shirt if they'd have let me. Just saying.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You ever been golfing, Brandon?
That's funny. It's like the first time.
I didn't want to say it. I hate golfing. I have, and it was funny. I was listening to another podcast. And you guys were talking about golfing or whatever, and I was hoping golf wouldn't come up because I hate it. I've tried. I hate it because I suck at it, and I don't want to put the effort in to do it. So I just, I know it's a thing. People get together, and it's fun and it's social. But like, we went for one of my buddies' bachelor parties, and I had like the worst time. Just shanking it left and right. And it was just, I just had to put the time in. So
I have quite a few friends that say they don't like fishing because it's boring. I'm like, man, I like fishing, dude. I'm just relax.
Fishing.
Some people like fishing because it's boring, right?
I hate fishing.
You got some like
you sound
bad
old as shit
stories or something.
Yo.
Yeah,
you sound old. Oh God,
we got 3 and 1, 3 and 1 and everything.
Hey man, can't talk about our last show.
Guys, we try to be a little bit educational on this podcast for people who are tuning in, especially for the YouTube channel. What is one secret to DJing or business that the audience has not heard? And that end part is so important. I really want you guys to dig deep. What's something like maybe you guys do special, or like what's one secret to DJing the audience has not heard before?
My secret to DJing is practice.
That's what the last dude said. We got to do better than that, IQ.
Dude, Mike's on a mission.
Do better than
I want some tips. Yo.
My secret to DJing is, if you don't know how already, learn how to count music. Count music in different counts. 4/4, 3/4. I'm a saxophone player, a drummer, so I know all about it. I know about reading music, and I feel like that boosts me to learning a few steps as far as the basics of DJing. I feel like if you can count music, maybe even read music, then you'll be better off. So learn that. Learn the beats, the beat numbers. You know what I mean? 4/4 counts. Learn the 3/4 counts. Learn the things that have nothing to do with DJing, but they do. It's not about actually being on the set practicing. It's about learning the things off the set.
I like that. I like that because I've heard a lot of DJs that have that natural ability, like set flow or like ideas, creativity, but they just don't understand like the counts or transitions.
Exactly. I work with a lot of DJs who were good, and exactly like you said, they didn't know the count, so they're like, on the 3, like on the 3, and you know what I mean. I know that so much, like from 16ths of the notes, I can drop something on any note, 1 Eana, 2 Eana, you know what I mean. I can drop something on any of them, so that actually boosts my level of creativity to be able to drop something like on a or on a. On a snare or on a hi-hat or, anything, and I think that's very important to learning, just not how to just do the 1, 2, 3, 4,
One DJ that reminds me of, and
do what anybody can do, I guess.
Oh, sorry. One DJ that reminds me of, and this isn't even hating because he knows that I think that he's a fantastic DJ. I think he's next up, is Love Dragon. And correct me if I'm wrong, Corrupt, but like that dude understands how to DJ. But man, if he could work on programming a little bit, I think he could get out the city and do kind of what you do, James, with like a scam artist, because his energy, his love for music, his depth of knowledge, like it's all there. I just feel like, tightening up some of the technical stuff and really understanding, like you were saying, IQ, counts, programming, phrasing, and that dude just skyrocketed. I already think he's good.
He's like Goku that hasn't gone Super Saiyan yet.
I like it.
Yeah.
B-Funk, tips to DJing. The audience has not heard before.
Has not heard. I don't know if they've heard this. For new DJs, I think they need to be aware of after that, the honeymoon is over. You need to be prepared for that. If it's 2 or 3 years or 4, you need to be mentally prepared for that. When your career plateaus, and you're gonna have to work twice as hard as you did when you first started, which is really weird. I've had time to really think about this in my career, because I rode that Dave Rave wave like a motherfucker. I was everywhere. They were putting me on Number Fest and all that stuff, and then it kind of went like this. I wasn't producing, and then my friends were getting tired, and so I'm working twice as hard to get the same amount, and it's mentally it hurts. You're like, man, what's going on? I'm a better DJ than I was before, and so not every DJ's career is going to be the same, but I mean, everybody here, I've heard, we've all been just riding and going up, and but no one's just shot straight up, and never had a bad time. And so I think you need to really be aware of that, because, every year I get new DJs at OU, and they're like, they start out, you're figuring out what it is, then you get better, then you know what you're doing, then you get better at getting people there, then you're that guy or girl, but then, people stop showing up, because they've seen it, and so be aware of that when you're doing, what is it that you're trying to break out, or just be mentally prepared that it's going to suck, you're going to plateau. I mean, all of our careers have just kept moving up, but there's those times where you're just like, man, I remember back, a year ago when I was just crushing it here. I didn't have to work this hard, and just be ready for that, because it smacks a lot of people. That year 3, I feel like really hits. You got that sophomore in college, they're getting their friends out. Then junior year, everyone's friends can go drink at the bar, so you're crushing it. And then senior year, crushing it. Then you graduate, you're like, this is what I want to do. I mean, we've all met DJs. I want to be a full-time DJ forever. And now they're just doing something else, because they weren't ready for that reality of, my friends got to work. They can't come out on Wednesday nights all the time, or, we've seen you, or whatever. We got families and stuff like that. And it just is a smack in the face that I think a lot of people don't really talk about, and the other thing too is, you're going to hit a level where it's going to be hard in that year 3, 4, 5, when you've really mastered that, it's hard to get useful information. I mean, Mike, you and I have talked about that. I feel like there's a lot of stuff for the new DJs, and hey, this is how you beat match, and opening and stuff like that. But people like us, unless you have a group of people, and that's why I'm so glad you guys are doing this podcast. And I think the Passion DJ podcast in Dayton is another thing where veterans are talking to other veterans about what they're doing, because how do you when I opened for Rez, I had no rule book on how to figure out how to do that. I'm doing direct support for an artist that has no equal, and I'm like, who do I talk to? What do I do? And stuff like that. And I feel like it's important to have people you can trust and talk to, in that later area. And if you're just talking to your friends, you're all I think IQ was talking about, your friends are just going to juice you up all the time.
Exactly. Yep.
And that is not, you got to have that, James, like you said, that reliable person going to tell you how it is. Yeah, your set was 90% good, but you fucked up that transition. Your friends aren't going to tell you that. They'll be like, yeah, man, it was great. You got to find that person, because otherwise you're going to hit that plateau and stay there. At least in my opinion. So,
100%. I remember that feeling, like you said, that hit you after that 3-year feeling where, you're riding this huge wave. That was me with college nights. And CGS group was still together, and we had Park Street Complex and all that. And then all of a sudden they're like, we're breaking up, we're going to the Short North, we're splitting the company. I'm like, what the hell? What am I gonna do? My promotion company's leaving. But I got lucky getting on with Peerless. But I was just like, all my promoters are done. They got older. I'm not playing for 500 people minimum a night. What am I going to do? But you just have to evolve, and you have to realize that there's always going to be competition, and you need to welcome that But like you said, man, if you have a group of friends around you that is going to give it to you honest, and you're able to take that criticism, okay, and you're able to use it, I think that's huge for being a veteran DJ, because that's what we need right now. Because I'll send something to Mike, and he'll tell me if it's good or not. He'll tell me what he doesn't like about it, and
Whether
we
it's
need more
playable.
of that. Yeah, playable. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can't stress enough what Brandon's talking about. And like for some people it hits harder than others. There's people who hit that 3 year and they can't deal with it and then they quit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just it's tough. Like it will definitely mess with your mind because you've gotten better as a DJ, right? Like you're not getting worse. And yet the amount of attention you're getting from your friends, from the outside, from whatever, goes down low. And James, I think we have to have, and on another podcast, I think we need you to talk about Corruption Productions, because I was there for a lot of that, the ups and the downs and everything. And man, there's a lot that can be learned from that. So I want to write that down for something we can talk about later. Brandon, do you want to talk about organizing your music, that kind of concept we talked about earlier, or do you want to talk about OU Halloween?
They're both great. I'll hit Halloween first, and we'll see if we have time for that
Cool.
organization thing. What about Halloween?
Just that, man. This is for people that don't know. OU Halloween is one of the biggest Halloween parties in the world. You've done it multiple times. You've been a stage manager. How do you prepare for that type of show as a DJ and maybe as a stage manager? And James has probably got some Warzone to do, so maybe keep it as short as you can. Not today.
Man, I'm taking a day off.
Okay,
I might be on that later.
I was up till 5 a.m. playing last night. I'm not happy about it.
No, you're good, bro. I saw that Dirty Bomb.
Yeah, man. So I've been done it, I think 9 times now. And so in the last couple of years, I've been in charge of the stage. So I book all the artists for that. It basically flew out of a partnership with Four Loko. They were put the money up for the stage. We just brought EDM. It's hard, man. So every year I start pretty much maybe like January, just collecting songs that are popular. So when I play Halloween, it's much different than when I do it any other show. Because one, it's 10,000 people, and it's something that will never happen for anybody. Most people coming out of OU, it's a 10,000 person built-in crowd, that will just listen to anything, and so that doesn't happen anywhere. Like if you're playing a show that big, you're playing under somebody, or you could lose the crowd because they could go somewhere else. Well, here people are just on the street, they want to party, and so I will bring a very, very accessible set. I'll that's one of the shows that I actually program the entire night, because I'm like, I got to hit so many different things. It's almost not as much fun, because it's when I get the good energy back, it's great because I feel good, but it's not the DJing I like, because it's so technical in a way that it's not me, if that makes sense. Like I'm creating these edits and they're almost too compressed, but at the same time I've got to get the artists on before me, so I'm dealing with making sure security's there, talking with police, liquor control comes there. Like this past year we had a beer garden, so I'm doing all the stuff that festival, promoter puts on, but I'm also thinking, hey, I got to make sure my Serato turns on. I got to make sure my gear's ready. And it is the worst stress, but once I'm up there, I mean, you guys have probably seen the picture I dressed up as Miles Morales. Dude, it's like every year, like if I've had a shitty year, like there was one year I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. People don't want to see me. And a couple of the DJs are like, hey, you need to do this. What's Halloween without B-Funk? And once I got up there and you just get that energy back, and I might be playing Above and Beyond or something, and everyone just feels it. And then, you can say whatever you want to Mike. That's the best part. Like, you having a good fucking time? I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. Like, who wants to get fucked up? Yeah, it doesn't even matter. I could, call out my Warzone call name or something like that, and people would just go crazy. But yeah, it's just the energy from that. And so, and it's kind of a dream, because as a DJ, as a kid, I wanted to play that stage. It was always bands. But then, I hit right, when EDM was hitting like 2009, I was there, with my buddy Dave, with Dave Rave, and we just kind of got on there and just rode that up, and so, but yeah, it's a much different setup, because there is so many things, and you want to make sure it's right. The people are there, but they're also not paying for it, so they're going to boo you real quick. If it's really shitty. Like if you pay to be at a show and the style is right, people are open to stuff. But like this is everybody. This is like putting on a show like in the middle of Columbus. They don't want to hear house music. You gotta change your set for that, so you don't just get booed and stuff like that. And so I try to make it accessible. A lot of sing-alongs and stuff like that, but it's heavy electronic. Like you might be enjoying some like Migos, but it's going to flip into some Skrillex all of a sudden. Just how any festival you see at Lost Lands or whatever. So.
Well, it looks like we lost IQ. We'll give him a second to get back. But yeah, B-Funk, we had a conversation maybe a few weeks ago where I said, man, I want to do a YouTube video on how I organize my music, but I wouldn't even know where to start. And I don't know how to like express what I do in a short format. And I was like, I think you said, I could do that. And I was like, all right, fine. In 1 minute or less, describe how you organize music. And you nailed it. So
you challenged me.
1 minute or less, describe how you organize music.
1 minute or less. All right. So I am a mobile DJ, but I also do like very, electronic shows, and not just like, club style, but like, talking regular house or trance stuff. So my music is split. I start with the grouping. I have two types. It's either Dave Rave tracks. That's all my electronic stuff, anything, that has a beat. And then I also have party jams. Party jams is anything that I'm not going to play at like Dahlia, like if I'm open for Matt and Zoe. And so party jams could be, Trust Me, it could be weddings. Then from there, I have smart crates in iTunes, and anything that tags with, Dave Rave tracks, it will go out to electro house, trance, bass music, and techno. And then I have rave classics. And then from there, I have it all keyed up and everything like that. So I can search in there, and then I've got a 3 types for each one. I've got a bass music all, and then I've got a last 3 months of bass music. So I can go find last 3 months of a genre or all of them, if I want. And then I've got each one by year. So I'll go to my Serato. So it'll be like 2015. And so I can just pop into different things, and it just helps me a lot. And I thought everybody did this, but apparently people don't. But that's the stuff I want. I'm glad you guys are doing this podcast, because that's the shit that like helps me like with these entirely growing things. It's not just like, hey, sort your music. It's like, what do you use to get there? I think playlists are a nice thing, but they're static. But if you have these smart playlists and stuff, and they continue, when you're in the mix, if you miss the first drop, the energy leaves. I mean, James, I'm sure you know that when you're in Dahlia, like you're moving in and out, and if you don't have that stuff in your mind, if you're trying something new, if you get in that first breakdown that you weren't ready for, you're going to lose a lot of that crowd. But if you're right into it, and then all of a sudden people are like, it's a smooth ass set, and that's, I feel like what separates a lot of good DJs between okay habits and really good habits, just having it at your fingertips.
It feels like the forgiveness window is so small now compared to what it used to be.
True.
Yep.
So yeah, it could be seconds of a group deciding like they might not even be thinking about the music. Yep. You know what I mean? They hear some like silent part or something that just sounded off, and they're like, you guys want to go somewhere else? Like, what? Yeah. It's just that is the ongoing struggle. But that's the challenge that I like.
Mm-hmm. James, could you do that? Could you describe how you organize music in less than a minute?
In less than a minute. Well, I do use Serato still to keep all of my music organized. I play on USB, so I then take prep from Serato, crates, transfer right over to Rekordbox, and then or I'll take everything in a mixed in key before Serato. So there's 3 steps there, and then I'll go into Rekordbox, and sometimes I'll do pre-made cue points, but for the most part I do all live cues at this point. But I recommend new DJs do pre-made cues because it's always going to be there, and then it's one less thing you have to worry about. And then as far as depends on what type of show it is how I prepare. If I'm doing an open format set on a Saturday night at Dahlia, that set is going to go all crazy, all different directions outside of playlists. because you just never know when the crowd's showing up or when they're leaving or when a big table's getting their bottles. Like, as far as an electronic show, that's more pre-organized, but you even then never goes perfect. The prep never goes how you wanted it to go. You sometimes have to throw in a track or two that you didn't want to play, or sometimes it goes the other way where you're like, man, they're really feeling let me see if I can sprinkle this in. So that's just how I do it, and I think that's how a lot of you guys probably do it for the most part.
Not quite. I couldn't do it in a minute. There's no way, bro. But my shit is.
Oh, I thought you meant explain it in a minute.
No, yeah, I couldn't even do that, dude.
Okay.
Dude, Occam's razor, man. You know, the smallest idea is the strongest. So you got to be able to bring it down, man. Like I believe in that. Yeah,
man. I would love that, but I just have. One day I'll do a YouTube video about it, and I was like, I'm really liking these live form. Brandon, you saw earlier with the streaming tips. I really like that live form stuff because I don't like have to watch myself in the camera a million times and like redo takes. But maybe one day I'll go through it and like how I do it. But it's pretty involved, man. I probably have I easily have 300 playlists, and I think that's being like I'm probably more closer to 500. So like it's involved.
Do they feed themselves or do you create them?
They feed themselves now, most of them. So I have to feed a couple. Like, I mean, a song will probably go into like 4 or 5 folders, and then from there they can like be dispersed into all my smart folders from there. So like I have the system I have now is like really, really good. But it took a long time to get there, man. Like I'm seriously considering going through all of my tracks and actually putting the year of the track on them. And people are like, oh my God, that would take forever. And it's like, okay, well, it took forever to get to this point. I took a summer, and the first thing I would do every day is I'd go into my iTunes, I'd pick a crate, and I'd like start sorting through it or like, start organizing. And by the end of the summer, like stuff was the way I wanted. And now I can kind of update it as I need to. But one day I'll do it. But I just thought that was so impressive that you guys could do that in a minute, because mine is so, it's not complicated. It's simple, but how do I say it? It's advanced. It makes sense, but it's advanced.
You think you're better than us, don't you?
No, dude.
Because I'm impressed by you guys and how you do it. Because all right, fuck it. I'm impressed by how you guys do it.
I wish I could be inside your head when you're preparing a set, Mike, because I know how critical you are, and I respect that about you. I honestly do.
Yeah, not necessarily a set, but definitely my playlist. My sets are a little bit more loosey-goosey, but my playlist, new. I have trouble DJing on other people's laptops, for sure.
Yeah, I do feel like that is something that doesn't get enough discussion. And it's, there is something about what we all do. We don't want to tell everything that we do. We're never, we're not going to come on here and be like, this is exactly what I do. You can be as good as me. Like, no, like, but, there's these conversations around this, like, it's interesting to hear you, James, like, no, you don't even do cue points. That's awesome. Like, that shit scares the crap out of me when I'm on CDJs. Like, I have to have it there. And, and so like just knowing that helps, I think, a lot of people. Cause a lot of times we're just flying through and, we might talk to some people about certain things, but we're not going to talk about like, what do you do with cue points and shit like that. But that's, that's the stuff that makes, like you guys are both great DJs because you've done these little things that are important. Hearing you talk that, hey, you still use Serato for this and get you there to there. Like, those are the things that take people, like, because I really feel like the threshold for being an average DJ or good DJ is really, really low right now. And it's from the crowd. Like, I can't. People are like, that was a great set. You're like, you listen to the same thing. Like, okay, they didn't. Everything was beat matched, but like the phrasing was off, or like, it was just like, breakdowns, man. Just over and over and over again. The energy's just like a wave the whole time. And like, yeah. But people are just like, that's great. It's like, no, like, it's not. And I'm not hating. But it's just like there's not enough of this conversation, I think, throughout. Like, the greats are up here and then everyone's here, but there's all this information there that doesn't get shared unless, like you're at, Dahlia with you, James, or something, or Mike at a show. Like, if you guys are talking, then yeah. But I feel like what you guys have right here is gold, and I just want to see this just you know.
Here's the way I look at it, because I respect everybody's opinion and feedback. I get what you're saying, but I think your average customer or someone that's coming to see your set, they're there for their own reason, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's to get drunk or listen to your set or just socialize with their friends. And then you have your promoters, your DJs at the crowd, your owners, people that are going to be more critical, more attentive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why you're going to get rebooked. That's why you're going to make the money you make, because at the end of the day, you could have 5 people in the crowd say, I wanted to hear something else. But then like maybe the guy that you just opened for, or maybe the owner, maybe the promoter, or maybe somebody that just bought a $1,000 bottle, they're like, man, you crushed it. It's like you can't win them all, but you have to try. That's our job. We're trying to please everybody, but it's I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's
No, I mean, I think that's really important, because a lot of people miss that, because if you're not making the place that pays you happy, it doesn't matter if, you crush that set, like if there's a bachelorette party in there and you're like, this is not what I do, and you play crap and they leave and the money, doesn't matter if you had a great opening set for Nora and Pure, like if the bar lost money, you're not coming back, and that's I think an important thing that a lot of people miss as well. Like it's not the greatest part, especially if you have an owner or somebody in charge that doesn't get it, which I think, the places you guys work, they get it, and that's why they support it, and that's why you guys are successful. But a lot of people are in places where the person in charge doesn't get it, and you have to make sure you're getting that right, because that is true. Like our friends had, your friends are having a good time, but if the owner is not having a good time, doesn't matter, and you gotta balance
a lot
that.
Of people.
So
I agree.
I'm really sad that we lost IQ, but usually we tell them to give us their. IQ is DJIQ614 on Instagram, and obviously you can catch them on 106.7 for the Catch Up Show. So check that out. And then B-Funk, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud is DJ B-Funk, YouTube, and Facebook B-Funk Official. And then Twitch is Papa B-Funk. Somebody beat me to it before I could get there. There's a DJ B-Funk in Brussels that pisses me off, and they're not even using it, and I'm just like,
gotta try to get it.
Yeah, you gotta be quick.
I like Papa B-Funk though. I really do. Like, I mean, it sucks that for marketing purposes it sucks, but like I do like.
Yeah, well, so one of the things, and you guys were talking about this, I think, with Stevie D last time. He was talking, because I looked up his Instagram about how it's it's not DJ centric. I've been trying to separate the DJ B-Funk from personal, and so I have a Papa B-Funk IG that I made in December. And that's going to be my personal, and DJ B-Funk's just going to be professional, because
nice.
You can't, I want to share stuff. Like I want to share that aliens thing and stuff, but people don't want to see that crap, and so then you're sitting on all that stuff. So I figured if I make that separate thing, that's the person that can interact in the nerdy way. I can talk about Warzone and stuff, and then B-Funk can be the DJ stuff. So
I feel like you disagree with that, James. I feel like you disagree with that,
So here's the thing. I think it's okay to have a personal page, but I think that your official page should have sprinkles of your personality or your personal. I think people do want to see that. With Stevie D's situation is he had almost nothing about DJ.
Yeah.
So if he would have just had a balance, then that's what we were talking about there. But I think what you're talking about is definitely awesome too. Either way.
Yeah, I mean that for me, it just I want to share stuff all day, every day. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a neat thing. Like I saw your Warzone video, James. Like that's dope. I was like, that's fucking sweet. That's
that was so bad though. I was just
so bad right now. Don't gas him up about this
dude,
shit.
I could tell. Name. Well, dude, I like it because I could see the passion in it, because I've played with you before and I get that, and so we're passionate.
Called Quest.
Yeah, and so, but so I want to share stuff all day that I find here and there. but I don't want to overload my thing with stuff that's not relevant. So my thought was, the person will still always be there. Hey, this is me at a Star Wars thing just for fun. But then I could just, fill up Papa B-Funk with whatever. And it won't matter because it's just friends or whatever. And if people don't want to be there, it doesn't matter because it's for me. B-Funk is a professional thing that gets me gigs. People see that. Like I shared this because I thought this would be something people would be interested in my brand or whatever. And so I'm trying to, but not having that separate, I'm like, sometimes I'll just share something in the middle of the night that's not appropriate for my page or something. You don't want that in there. But if I got Papa B-Funk, I'm all set. I can share whatever.
Papa B-Funk could show all of your golf game.
Exactly. So that's my feeling. And I just feel like that's something that, because, there is a balance too. And I know we're about to end, but I'm a wedding DJ as well, and so people don't give a shit about res and their weddings, and vice versa. Those worlds don't mix, and so it's a weird balance trying to get that right. I don't want to come off looking too corporate, to somebody's like, why is this guy opening for Matt Zoe or Marcus Schultz or whatever? But at the same time, I want to get those gigs that are going to pay the bills so I can afford to go, do a less paying gig that I enjoy, so that it's that balance. And I feel like Papa B-Funk will be there for all that crap. So
I like that. Makes sense.
Yes. And if you're watching on YouTube, I will leave both of their social media handles in the description, as well as our 614 releases. 614 is a Columbus clothing company, born and raised here. They do bracelets, shirts, hoodies, hats. What else they do, James? You got a lot of their stuff.
I believe I have a rain jacket. T-shirts. I think they're starting some new stuff as well. They're getting pretty creative with it. So,
but so they've been awesome partners with us, and we just want to talk about things that have been released. And I get a second chance at pronouncing this last name. I'm so excited about it. Connor Mulrooney, aka Cannabis, at Connor Mulrooney.
What's up, Connor?
Just released a Cookie Kawaii remix under his SoundCloud. He's going by Connor Quinton now because he's a techno DJ, and techno DJs go by their first and middle names. So no, I'm just kidding. It's an EDM remix. He just started his production. James, we forgot to talk about your production. We got to make it a point. I think we're having Rizik on the show next week, and you guys can talk about production. We didn't get to hit it this week.
No worries.
But yeah, shout out to Connor. And then what else? Oh, James, did you want to talk about Reborn? You want to wait till
we'll just talk next episode. That way it's closer to release and stuff.
And then our last 614 release was Levitate by Entel. We've had Entel on the show before. He's putting out stuff like crazy. So you guys can check him out. Yeah, also OU DJ. Yeah, represent. And you can find Entel at Entel Music on IG. It's ENTEL. Woo! Guys, if you're watching on YouTube and you made it this far, you got to like the video. You got to subscribe. We're going to have more information. We're going to have more stories.
Keep this going.
More everything. So, James, I love how every episode goes a little bit longer. I feel like we're just pushing it out. But man, take us out. I had so much fun with this episode. Sad IQ had to dip out, but take us out, man.
Man, IQ crushed it. Thank you, IQ. Brandon, it's been a minute. I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yep.
I hope you're doing okay. Wish you best, and I'm sure I'll see you at Dolly again soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Hit us with more questions for next episode, and we'll see you next week.